I'm Justin. I'm a Skullcom librarian. My pronouns are he and they.
I'm Sadie. I work IT at a public library, and my pronouns are they, them.
I'm Jay. I'm a cataloging librarian, and my pronouns are he, him.
And we have guests. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Avi. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a archivist and a librarian with the Career Liberation Library.
Hi, I'm Amber. I use she, her pronouns. At the Career Liberation Library, I lead our collections team, and I'm also an academic librarian in my day job.
Yay, welcome on. All right, so this episode kind of came about because, Avi, you introduced yourself in the Discord, and I saw that you worked with the Queer Liberation Library, who I follow on Tumblr, and I was like, oh my god, how did I not think about having them on as a guest? Like, I followed the Tumblr for a while, so welcome to you both. So first of all, why don't you go ahead and tell us what the Queer Liberation Library is, what its mission and scope is, how it came about, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can get us started here. So the Queer Liberation Library is 100% digital, queer, nonprofit library by and for the queer community. I think our mission statement does a pretty good job of explaining like the rough edges of what we do, which is that we're fighting to build a vibrant, flourishing queer future by connecting LGBTQ people with literature, information, and resources that celebrate the unique and empowering diversity of our community. But what that really boils down to is queer books for free to as many people nationwide who want or need it.
Yeah, that's a good summary. Were you asking? Sorry, oh man, were you asking about how we got started, or was that later?
Yeah, no. How did Queer Liberation Library like come about?
It's largely a passion project that a friend of ours from grad school. We were in library school at UBC and worked at a local community queer library, and then during pandemic times, Kieran, our friend, decided that this was a thing that they wanted to do, and it really like came around. We kind of like snowballed with friends of Kieran's, with a bunch of people from different areas that ended up being relevant to getting a nonprofit started.
Yeah, when we were students, grad students at UBC together, the library that's there is out on the shelves. And I remember we had like just an intro meeting at the very beginning to be like, hey, what is this thing? And the three of us were like the ones who stayed the latest. And I remember we walked into that space together and all three of us were like, oh my God, this is incredible. This entire room is full of queer books. It's amazing. Like I've never been in a space like that before. So that was just like, whoa, you don't have to look for it. It's every single one. And in that moment, I think is the first seed of Quill, because I distinctly remember Kieran saying, I want one of these one day. And it ended up not being like a physical space, but hey, we have one.
And it's all volunteer run, correct? Like you guys all like work beyond your day jobs for this.
Yeah, we do have a support person for some tech stuff who we charge for stuff, or who charges us for stuff, but everyone else, all of the Amber, what are we?
Steering committee. We're a steering committee. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everybody on the steering committee is totally volunteer in our spare time.
Very
we're
cool.
fiscally sponsored by NOPI, which is a nonprofit incubator. Basically, working with them, we're able to have 501c3 nonprofit status. So that's super helpful for us because then it means people can donate to us and tax deductible and all of that stuff. And I forget where I was going with that piece.
That's okay.
Sorry, I really had like a through line for that and it completely left me.
Working volunteer?
Yeah.
Steering committee?
Yeah, right. So because we're technically fiscally sponsored, they are the board, and so we're the steering committee.
Okay.
But we do all the all the work
running
for it, really.
stuff.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah, it's kind of better that way to have a day job because then you get to do whatever you want like we do. So I know it sucks not getting paid to do something, but it also is kind of like freeing.
You can say fuck.
Yeah, you can say fuck. No one can yell at you.
You absolutely can. I think we joke around a lot, like in the group of us doing it, that we're just like 7 or 8 friends in a trench coat, just like doing our best. Like we're all little forest animals. There's a raccoon and a possum, and we're all like, wow, who thought we were legitimate? It's amazing that we get to do this thing, but wow, we're just a couple people. So
That's how I feel every time the podcast comes up on like somebody posted something about it being on their collection management class.
I
Mhm.
say faggot too much for that. Stop assigning us in class.
No, do it more. Send me your syllabi.
Justin's like,
Well, you know, Jay, we have some books in our collection. I think the title of one of them is Faggots
Why are
and Their
faggots
Friends
so afraid of
Between
Oh,
Yeah. Faggots and Their Friends Between
it's in the other room.
Revolutions.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Why Are Faggots So Afraid of Other Faggots is actually in our wish list. We haven't been able to buy
Okay.
it yet. So we're working on it.
Yeah. Y'all, from what I've seen, of very much feel like the sort of like digital counterpart to something like the Gerber Hart Library in
Mhm.
Chicago, which is
Mhm.
also like all volunteer run, but is a physical
Mhm.
space.
Yeah.
Anybody can become a patron of it there because it's not like tied to
Mhm.
taxes or anything. Like I did my practicum there in
Mhm.
grad school. And so I became a patron of it. And so that's how I watched like Personal Best and like The Birdcage and shit for the very first
Aw.
time. As I would just take DVDs home with me every
Mhm.
weekend because they're only open on the weekends because they're just volunteers and it's in person.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like y'all being like a digital counterpart to spaces like the Gerber Hart is like really cool.
Yeah, I feel like some of us take experience with more physical spaces like that's kind of into this work.
Mhm.
For us, it's a lot of out on the shelves, but also just
Yeah.
like other community spaces where it's
Mhm.
really more based on like collaboration and being comrades than it is about like, it's just nice to be removed from those other pressures.
And
Yeah, for sure.
we have, had some interaction and some like collaboration with some of those other spaces. So some people on our team have met with people at Catchafoil, which is the queer library in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
We've been talking with the QT library, which they're trying to
In
launch
Boston,
over
yeah.
in Boston.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's really cool to be in conversation with other people doing like similar but different projects at the same time.
I get asked so many times if I'm part of QT, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I promise. They're cool though. They were at the Anarchist Book Fair, and so
Oh,
I got to
cool.
meet them there. Yeah, it was really fun.
Mhm.
Very
I
cool.
know that at one point Seattle had it was Gay City Library. It was part of their gay community center. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. And it was very much like what you guys talked about with Out on the Shelves.
Mhm.
Like the first time I went there, it was just a tiny little volunteer library tacked onto their community center next to a coffee shop. And it was just like stacked all the way up to the ceiling with just only queer books. And I was like, it was a mid 2000 or like 2010 too. So it was just like mind blowing to me that a space like that existed. So, but I
Mhm.
think that they have a brand new one now too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
That's how Out on the Shelves started too, is at the Queer Community Center
mhm,
downtown Vancouver.
very cool. So, I'm really curious about like what the day to day running of like Quill looks like, and like how many hours a week does each person like put into it, that sort of thing. Because I know at least at one point in time we did get a question in the Discord about how to start a library. And so I'm kind of curious if people find it really intimidating. Like you said, like, oh my God, we're legitimate. How did that happen? So like what does it look like, the sort of day-to-day running of Quill?
Yeah, Amber does a lot. Amber's probably on the high end of how many hours are people
Probably.
putting in. Yeah.
I like to pull open my personal computer at my lunch breaks and be like, what cool things are happening right now that are way more interesting than what's happening at my real work? Or I don't want to think about teaching information literacy. I want to think about gay books. So there's definitely that. And I know we joke about like, oh, how did we get serious? But it did take like a substantial amount of like planning and active work to be in that space. It's just kind of wild to be there. I think a lot of the day-to-day stuff now, we have a Discord for the team, so a lot of work we can do a little bit asynchronously. We can pitch in when we need to. We do have regular like steering committee meetings, and honestly, I think I've probably been spending a little bit more time lately on this than I should have to have a regular work-life balance, but that's also because doing this work at this time like feels really good. It feels like it's like concrete, like active contribution that I can make to make things less horrible for some people out there. So yeah, it's definitely fun in that way.
Yeah, if you're not careful, you'll just like not do your day job and just work on Quill all day. I don't do that, obviously.
Their employers listening.
Yes, just in case.
Thinking that.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been handling a lot of the technical stuff. I started off really focused on spreadsheets. My first official title was spreadsheet bit. I believe on the website it's spreadsheet king, but
Yes.
Okay.
but that's not how that
Spreadsheet
started.
bitch. That's so
It's
good.
just
But in
Yep.
your heart, you're still spreadsheet bitch.
always. I can't escape it.
Incredible.
It's a good T-shirt you should sell.
Ooh,
Yeah, you're spreadsheet king right now.
yeah. Just, again, in case the employer's watching.
I think I'm the only one who doesn't have a cool title.
you
I
not have a
literally
title
couldn't think
still?
of one. And so I threw out a reference to the Mummy, beautiful bisexual film that it is, but I need to work on that.
We should have titles.
I think
That
some
would
of
be
our
fun.
what are some of the other titles? We have Nonprofit
Social
Wit.
media gremlin,
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's some good ones.
Design lich,
business
I think is
gay.
the
We like to
Yeah,
have
these
fun
are
with it.
great.
again, yeah, with the volunteering and we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, I love
Oh.
business gay. Like, put that on my resume, right?
Yeah.
Business
You
gay
mean-
sounds like a fashion trend. Like it's like khakis
it does.
and like a ruffled shirt.
I feel like you would hate that.
I didn't say it was
No.
a good fashion trend.
Ew. Khaki is never a good trend. One. Thank you very
This
much.
is true. You look like a big
Full
third
stop.
grader.
No, the business gay is the one who makes sure that we have regular meetings and goals and things.
Yeah, I was going to say, with so many librarians who are often a little bit leaning anti-capitalistic, it's useful to have someone who's like, no, we need money to function, and this is how we will get more money, and you have to do that while you're doing all this other fun stuff. So it's great to have a big variety of input in that way. We got lucky with the people we have.
Yeah, like there's actually some collective out there that does like financial training for anti-capitalist projects and
Mhm.
like
Cool.
co-ops and shit. Yeah, because our treasurer for the Lucy Parsons Center got that training. So so it's out there who care about money but are also like cool anarchists are out there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see if I can find that so we put it in the
Well,
notes.
speaking about money, I do want to know about the
Mhm.
funding because it's based in Massachusetts. So it's Massachusetts locally funded nonprofit grant because there's a grant from a Massachusetts organization. Did I misremember that? You're making a face.
Yeah, so the Massachusetts address is because that is where NOPI, the nonprofit incubator who fiscally sponsors us, is located. So that's where the Massachusetts
Ah.
address comes from. The fundraising, most of that we're primarily donor funded, and that's through the Give Butter platform. So there's no real address associated, I don't believe, but I'm also not the fundraising witch. It's going, I would say, pretty well, amazingly. I never thought we would raise this much money. Of course, our business gay wants us to raise even more money while I'm over here going, holy shit, people gave us money. So thank you to everyone who has ever given us money. You've helped us buy so many queer books for so many people. It's incredible.
But yeah,
And there's yeah.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say that we have like a support quill fund, like a donate button that's available from our website all the time. But we also do have like specific fundraising pushes throughout the year. So in Pride, we usually have a fundraiser, and then there may be a couple other events. But really, it's the people that are giving reoccurring donations. If that's like $5 a month or $10 a month, that really helps us like stabilize and plan and make sure like, okay, we can expect to make at least this much. So then we know we can still buy this many holds that month or whatever. Yeah.
And how long is that funding for? Like, is there I know sometimes it's like this is a 3-year grant or something, or are they
Mhm.
kind of committed to helping you get fully up and off the ground forever?
Right. So we don't get any money from NOPI. By being
Oh,
our
okay.
fiscal sponsor, that means they actually get a proportion, like a percentage, a small percentage of the money we fundraise in
Okay, so
order
I have
to
that
like
backwards.
pay for their services for like doing tax forms and being the official 50c3 provider and
Oh,
whatnot.
okay.
So we don't have to deal with all of those little bits and pieces.
Yeah,
So
I had no
most of the
idea what a
money,
fiscal sponsorship was until
Yeah.
we met these people. I was like, okay.
it's apparently a very
It's nice.
normal like way for nonprofits to function, even ones that are much bigger than us. But the majority of the money that comes in is from individual donations. So that's whatever people decide to give us whenever. We actually have gotten our very first grants within the last couple of months, which has been really exciting. but those are pretty small grants. It's still amazing, but we're working to continue building that and diversifying that. So some of those grants could be term limited, but we're really not at the point where we're getting those huge term limited ones yet. We're looking more in
Okay.
the realm of like $1,000 to $10,000, and then hopefully those are grants that can go into just general operating expenses and aren't constrained in certain ways. So we're trying to be strategic with which ones we apply to, so we can do whatever we need to do with them at this time.
Because buying books is by far the like biggest need that we have. The demand is just more than we have. We don't have as many books as we want to for people.
The queers of
Mhm.
America are voracious readers, and we love it. And we are doing our best to bring down the hold times, and we will succeed one day.
I know I didn't join until just recently, even though I've been following the Tumblr for a long time, because I thought, they're still small. There's probably there are probably a really long hold lines. I have like 5 other digital cards from some of the like biggest library systems on the West Coast, so I will just hold off on that for a little while. But I did cave and actually get a membership like last week. So
That's
hold
exciting, though.
times, yeah, voracious readers, yeah.
Mhm.
So, speaking of collection development and that sort of thing, so like it's all digital, so it's all through Overdrive, right? It's all
Mhm.
Overdrive and Libby. I was
Correct.
really curious how your guys' relationship with Overdrive is, because there's that insane inflation for ebooks and
Mhm.
stuff, which is hard enough for, tax funded libraries. You guys are nonprofit run by donations. Like, have they been like, are they just straight business with you guys? Do you guys have like a supportive relationship with Overdrive, or is it just like you're every other library and that's your problem kind of deal?
I think that part of the reason that getting started like kind of snapped into place once we were getting started was partially because Kieran used to work at Overdrive doing collection development. And so there was a bit of an existing relationship with people. Everybody's been really nice and great. And then we're there as a private library. Amber, you were saying that you remembered more of that than I do.
Yeah. Yeah, so because we're a nonprofit, we're like technically classified in their system as a private library, not a public library, which doesn't really mean a whole lot on the front end, but just changes a few little things on our side. And so the way that works is they charge like a base rate based on the number of patrons you have. So when we first started off, we were like, well, we don't have that many people when we first got started. And so we were at their kind of lowest tier. And so as we get more patrons, they could raise that a little bit, but that's like a one-time annual fee. It's really not too bad. And in terms of like digital licenses, those ones that you have to rebuy again and again, like those metered access titles, that functions kind of exactly the same for us as it would for any other library. What we've been doing with that is we've just been trying to be like super, super smart with the money that we do have. So for all the library nerds out there who really know exactly what this is, we don't explain it too much to all of our patrons because like no one cares that much. But we try and buy as many of like the one copy, one user, we get to keep it forever license as we can. And we have a couple of like simultaneous use packages so we can make sure there are some things that are always available. And at the end of the year, like those, like the, I don't know, cost per use, if you do the math, it is a really huge bang for our buck. Actually, like the price per checkout is like 1 cent, which is incredible because so many people are reading them. So we've just been trying to be really smart with that and not buy too many things that we need to then repurchase again at a later date until we know that we can kind of sustain that moving forwards, while still balancing it with what people want to read and are interested in reading and like what's coming out, all of those fun factors.
And do you find that the selection that Overdrive has is sustainable? Like, I mean, obviously, I've read a lot of different queer romances via Overdrive. I'm a Libby user, but just in the terms of things that could fall under the definition of a queer book, they have an adequate selection. You feel?
I think they're always outliers, but what were you going to say, Amber?
I was going to say you should see the size of our wish list.
Oh, yeah.
Massive.
And
the
those
number
are
of
books
books
that
we
aren't
want.
available yet?
Oh, no.
Or
The
we
number
can't
of
afford
books.
it yet.
Yeah. that we want to buy, but we haven't been able to buy yet, but are available in Overdrive.
Okay.
So
And I
I
will
think
say
we could.
that. Oh no, sorry.
I think we could keep going at kind of the rate that we're buying books for at least another like year or 2 or 3 before we started to run out, so to speak, of things that we wanted in the collection. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I would say that you're talking about reading queer romance on Libby. That is a big portion what people are reading and asking for, and I think that's just a genre that's really, really growing right now, and that there's a lot of on Overdrive. So we've lucked out with that at least.
Ebooks are for porn.
And also, those are the books, unless you're at like the Boston Public Library or something, that like the queer romance are going to be the ones that like a lot of public library systems aren't going to have as much. I feel like because it doesn't fit with their patron wants or whatever. They want all of the straight hetero romance novels, and they have to spend all their money on those, right?
Yeah.
So, like for y'all to be really filling that specific niche, especially for more niche queer romance, as well as that, as more people, I guess, move off of Kindle Unlimited and move more towards like traditional or independent publishing that's not just on Kindle.
Yeah. I love seeing the asks on Tumblr that are like, do you guys have any like pirate sapphic adventure novels? And I'm like, if they have more than 2 on that list, then we are wing. I'm like, I never would have thought that sort of niche would be there, but it's there. Hallelujah.
It is.
And those are always fun. A lot of times Amber will come into the Discord and be like, hey, we got this ask. I know these 2 things. What do you guys know about? And we just kind of like build off of each other. You'd be amazed.
We definitely have more than 2 sapphic pirate adventure stories too. I just want to make that clear. We also have more than 2 like cowboy stories.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Personally,
we had recently somebody asked for sword lesbians, and we're like, we literally have a collection, a list ready to go that is titled Sword Lesbian. We got
saw that one. That's incredible.
Maybe this is a question you don't know how to answer because I don't know how to answer it. Do y'all have like, when searching in Libby or something, because it's not like y'all have like a traditional catalog you can search through, can y'all put any like local metadata in those records at all? No, because I was like, this is like a gold mine if like you put some Homosaurus terms in there. You can get like granular as fuck with the search terms.
We talk as sort of like a long-term goal being having an OPAC one day where we can have stuff from different sources and where we could do our own records. And I would be delighted to be able to add Homosaurus to stuff.
Yeah, but that's one of those like future goals, like at some point when we do outgrow just having Overdrive as a platform and we're able to like add more pieces on, that will involve having the OPAC to add all those other things on so it's all discoverable through one search. And at that point, we could do all of those things, but right now we don't do any like cataloging in that way. It would be super dope, but
yeah, so it comes down to kind of like that super specific curation.
Which we can do some really cool things with. I don't know if you've like from our homepage on Libby, you can see those lists we've curated. We have some guides too. So for like kids and young adult and for nonfiction and for genre fiction, like we can get into a little bit more detail there, which has been really fun, but it's still limited in some ways.
And have either of you worked in a public library? Okay. How do you feel like the reader's advisory questions, like, are they like, I would find this just absolutely like fun. But I'm not a librarian, so I don't know how much that would, but like, that sounds like a dream come true to me. Like, how many sword lesbian books do you have? Like, don't mind if I do. Like, how does that compare to like just working in like a standard library where, it's not just the queers.
I say, Amber's you did a bit of public library like before grad school, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, I was an assistant youth services librarian. So the kinds of reference questions that I was getting was, do you have any nonfiction books about mermaids? Going over to the juvenile nonfiction section, being like, actually, this is technically nonfiction because it's in the 300s in mythology. So yes, to a 7-year-old. However,
it's a little
bit different.
It's like that fake documentary on Discovery Channel you watch in year 7. It's like, mermaids are real. And I was like, they are?
gosh. So
Fooled
it
me.
is quite different. But it's really fun. It's also one of those pieces of this work that does take a little bit more like depth of time that we don't always have. So that's one of the areas that I'm hoping within the next year or so we can bring on some more volunteers to help with that kind of work, because to answer those questions well and to get them like really cool stuff that's in our collection, it's awesome, but we don't always have the time for it. And they have a lot of questions, and they have a lot of really specific questions.
How often do you guys get questions about nonfiction and like queer history and stuff?
Not as frequently, but we do get comments in various other ways. So whether that's when people comment on like the donation form or in any of the surveys that we've sent out, that they're like, wow, it's so incredible to have these resources available. It's great. It's normally we get a few more questions or interactions around like Pride. So in June when we're like promoting a lot of that stuff. But I am personally really, really excited about the nonfiction that we do have. It's one of my favorite areas to like do more collection development in. So we like have a specific like curated list that's for like the queer community and health, like navigating healthcare systems and various resources there. So yeah, that's something that I'm really excited about. And also like being able to be a resource for people who are doing research into various like queer things, but they need something more than just Judith Butler that they can get at their public library, right? So that's really exciting to me to keep building up. And I think it's a really important part of what we do. Like, obviously, reading for fun, amazing, but also sometimes
The
people
his-
need more than that,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes people are massive nerds and they really want to read a 400-page book about, like, I don't know, the intricacies of drag in India, right? So we want to be able to give that to people.
So you kind of talked about this a little bit already, but do you guys have any like plans on extending your resources just beyond Overdrive? Like you talked about like having the OPAC and the collection development of that, but is that just like sort of a pie in the sky wish? Is there any sort of concrete planning towards that? Because I think it would be great if you could just go to one catalog and be able to see, like where the closest queer archive is to me, or where the closest queer bookstore is, or like, that's sort of like bringing the digital, like your digital status out to make other things more accessible for more people, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
But that may be just my wishful thinking.
We
I
do
like the
actually,
wishful thinking.
yeah, it's good to be wishful and hopeful and root for things. We do actually have a page on our website that's like under online resources, but then it's queer information centers in the US in real life. So maybe that's an oxymoron. I don't know. I didn't build that section of the website. But we have tried to provide a little bit of that. I would say that we're not in any concrete planning yet to move towards an OPAC and like getting more of those things. It's definitely something that we want to do. It's not totally pie in the sky. I think it is achievable in the future, but we're not far enough along to plan that. We don't have the capacity. We're kind of still playing catch up with like, we've had a couple posts. Actually, it's like a year ago now that went
Just about.
totally viral on TikTok, and the explosion in like membership numbers, demand was kind of insane, very cool, but also insane. And we're still trying to like run to catch up to some of that. So it's not something we have immediate capacity for.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. That explosion was a lot. We opened in October 2023, and then in February 2024, we had a few hundred members, and we were.
I think it was like maybe
elated.
3,000.
Had it really gotten that high? Even I don't.
Yes, I think
okay.
so.
What I remember for sure is that I was in charge of updating our spreadsheet and entering manually all our users into Overdrive to get their accounts going. And
Oh, wow.
I went from checking every few days and having about, I guess it must have been the thousands, because I'd have like 10 to 30 new members every few days. It was great. And then one day I'd done the upload, and then people were like, hey, TikTok is happening. Can we check? And it had been like 3 hours and we had 1,200 new members.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like we got like 10,000 in a day or something. It was
I think we went from
completely unexpected.
We went from like 3,000 to like over 30,000 in like 24 to 36 hours. It was insane.
Holy shit.
And we weren't expecting that. And that was like 3 months after we opened. And then, like, over the course of the rest of the year, I think the last number I saw, Avi, which you probably know better, was like 99,000, which is
Yeah. We were, this would
Yeah.
have been just a week or two ago. We
Incredible.
were like 99,400. It might be a bit more. I could actually pull that up.
mind-blowing numbers.
Yeah, because I think I joined right after I moved to Boston. So I think that would have been in 2023.
Mhm.
And not from TikTok or anything, but it was like, I think when y'all like got really big on Twitter,
Mhm.
maybe is when I heard about it or something. I don't know, but that's
Before
because it took
we-
like a couple. Yeah, it took a couple weeks, I think,
Mhm.
to get approved, or it took a little bit.
Mhm.
And then there were still like really long wait times on everything. But I got a cool book about cruising, so that was fun.
Amazing. Was it park cruising?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, part of the reason for that too was that, like, our opening capsule, like our opening collection was 405 items. So
Yes.
that it was as much as we could purchase at the time, and we've kept adding to it, but it was pretty small to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say if you were waiting a while to get in, that's because I have ADHD. That's where that came from.
Same.
Yeah,
all
Honestly,
do.
we
Yeah.
all do. That's the spice of this podcast.
that's one of the nice things about our new login system is that I'm not doing all of that by hand. And then if I forget,
God,
that
I
the
can only
internet
imagine.
exists, I'm still fine.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, yeah. My life since that happened has pretty much just been troubleshooting people's login issues.
Mhm. But hey, better security for everybody, so that's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Very, yeah. And we have a little over 103,000 members. I didn't even notice.
Wow.
Incredible.
Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
You really did. We haven't even.
Thank you. Yeah, heard it before Karen did.
So what's your feedback been like since you guys got up and running? Like, besides just to wish holds times were shorter or that sort of thing, like, has it been like the testimonials you have on your site are all exactly the kind of thing I would imagine would come about, very like, I'm so glad this exists, et cetera, because those are my exact feelings when I first learned about you guys too. But like, what's the spectrum of feedback that you've been getting?
Mhm.
I think my favorite feedback is usually just when there's people who are working with queer kids or teens who are able to use this resource that they can't get from whatever institution they're working through. That's kind of,
Mhm.
that's always my favorite. It's just that
Mhm.
it's kind of another avenue, especially for people who aren't out or whose parents don't approve.
Mhm. Yeah, we've had messages from people in like Florida and South Dakota and Texas and various other places say like, wow, this is my primary library access. Like, I'm able to share this with this many other people. Or like, I'm a teen librarian and I can show these people. I'm a therapist and I can share it with these people, which is just like, obviously it's amazing to reach like the very online people who are like really connected and into it and like know everything about the latest queer book. But to reach these other people is also kind of like exactly why we wanted to do this in the first place.
I'm trying to think, like, were there other areas of feedback that you're curious about? Because
Mostly just that.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, like I worry in the current political climate that, like, God forbid something happened to your guys's like feedback form or something. It goes Reddit on the wrong, or it goes viral on the wrong Reddit thread kind of deal.
Mhm.
So like, but it has been mostly positive.
Yeah. Well, we don't have like a feedback form per se, right?
Okay.
Like most of those testimonials have come from surveys that we've sent to our membership.
Okay.
So hopefully that's a little bit more contained. I mean, we have gotten a few comments once in a while. It hasn't broken containment too bad, but it does feel a little bit like, oh, is the shoe going to drop someday? We've tried to make some plans and precautions for if that did happen. Hopefully not. Like, we have some lawyers just in case, right? Who we hope we never have to use in that way. And we've taken some other precautions too. But by and large, the feedback has been overwhelmingly incredible. So supportive, so positive. It's really touching to see the kind of impact that us just kind of like fucking around and doing this really fun thing that is like the ideal of what we would have wanted to do as librarians, and then it's really touching people in this concrete way, right? So that's my main takeaway.
Yeah, I think we're always a little nervous when something big happens that might get people's attention in a way we don't want, but so far we've been really lucky with that and just going for as much as we can. I think we did get like a bit of a response that we didn't love when we put up our Queer in Palestine list, and other than that, that's kind of been it.
Maybe you two can have a screenshot of Tucker Carlson looking confused next to your logo, calling you gender jihadists.
That's the dream, honestly.
Yeah, my dad was so proud.
You made it. Yeah, these militant transgender,
Yeah.
Trans intifada now, etc. You know,
you're not wrong about all of us.
I mean, we do literally have a book titled Transgender Marxism in the collection, so
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
interesting text.
Adding that to my list.
I haven't read it.
There's
haven't
some very
either.
good essays in there. I don't love all of the essays in there. I also know people who know the editor of that book, and I've heard some of the background info of how that book got made. So,
fascinating.
Yeah. I want to know.
But the woman who edited it, she's a trans scholar in the UK, I believe, and so most of the writers for that are UK writers. And she recently came out with a book on like the history of trans misogyny. I believe she's a really good historian. She gets published with Verso, I believe, mostly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Shouts out transgender Marxism, like literally defining an academic genre was why that book was so important. It's a pretty cool text, despite my qualms with it.
I mean, classic academia, though, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to agree with everything in there, which is good. Yeah.
And what sort of like partnerships do you guys currently have? Are you hoping to make in the future? Like, what's on the horizon in that sort of direction?
Do you want to talk about the Penguin Random House thing?
Sure.
Yeah.
I can go ahead with that. So the thing we're really excited about right now is that we have a partnership with Ocean Vuong and Penguin Press, which basically means that anyone who pre-orders Ocean's newest book, Emperor of Gladness, I believe it's called, a percentage, if they like submit the like order numbers and whatever in Penguin's site, that a percentage of the proceeds from all the pre-orders are going to go to us, which is incredible. And it was something that like Ocean brought to Penguin, and then they reached out to us. So that was a shocking email to receive, frankly, on whatever weekday we happened to open up the inbox and get it. But really delightful. Really delightful. We're really excited about it. So, hey, if you pre-order that book, part of the proceeds are going to be donated to the Queer Liberation Library. Incredible.
And I think it's been interesting thinking about when we have the ability to do more stuff, what we can do with the digital kind of library space that we have and with other really awesome queer libraries that are out there. And I think that someday we would love to do more like programming and get to have guest talks and stuff like that. But we're just not quite there yet.
That's fair. Focus on building the collection first.
It's a pretty big author to get, though. Like,
yeah. It was
the gays can discourse about the poetry, get some attention. It'll be great.
Absolutely. It's incredible. We have
Amber's
a
partner is a poetry person. Yeah.
We have a poetry consultant, very formal title. It's actually just my girlfriend. They're just like so cool.
That's such a girlfriend titles, the poetry consultant.
Yeah, they are incredible, and they make sure that in addition to the books, the poetry that I think just like looks fun and overdrive, they make sure we get like this is quality literature. So it's wonderful.
Aw,
Sadie, that's so gay.
I know, it's super gay.
That's so good.
That's like I have a slur to say levels of gay. Affectionate in parentheses.
Thank you, Jay.
Amazing.
We're all admiring Sadie's tattoo.
Yeah.
For those, this is a visual, an audio medium.
Yeah.
The poetry Dewey tattoo.
Would love to be gay poetry advisor eventually once I retire or something. I don't know.
That could be your library
In the
punk title.
meantime, yeah, you could just like DM us suggestions.
Well, no. Actually, for all the people out there, we do have like an acquisitions request form on our website that you can, if we don't have something and you want us to have it, sometimes it's already in our wish list. We might not be able to buy it for like months, but it'll make sure we know it's out there. I do monitor the things that come in through that, so we will see it.
We use the notify me tags on Libby
Yeah.
a lot too, so that's
We
a
do.
big factor. That's nice.
So hey, send us your queer poetry recs. We would love to see them.
What queer poetry do I even know off the top of my head right now? I can't think
I'm
of.
like,
Besides,
Hey.
like, what the fucking. Oh, who's the guy wrote Crush that all the fan fiction's titled after?
Oh, what is his?
you know
fucking
Richard
name? That's-
Sykin?
Yeah.
Richard Sykin, that's right.
Okay. Actually, I have something
Not
to say
available
about
to
that.
ebook? Yeah.
Not available. It's not available
Yeah.
through Overdrive. I have tried. I'm so sorry that we cannot get that particular author. However, I will say if you need more queer poetry in your life, we actually currently have a curated list up on Libby that's poetry for Black History Month. So
Hell yeah. Do it.
I say
Yeah, I
Tony
was
Pico
scrolling
is
through
also
your
a good one.
available now while y'all were talking and seeing some good shit. So
It's nice that there's some actually really good stuff there, and it's not
yeah.
all kind of off to the side stuff.
I was curious with the restrictions on like what libraries can get Overdrive and whatever. Is there any, because I know a lot of fiction is written through Amazon and therefore not available to libraries. Is there anything you would recommend to queer authors out there when they're looking for publishing venues to make sure that you can get it?
Yeah, so things that we can get through Overdrive, if usually this is more like indie authors as well. Draft to Digital pops up in Overdrive. Ingram pops up through Overdrive. Smash Mouth pops up through Overdrive, I believe it is, or Smash Words. Ooh, I might have gotten that wrong. So there are
Somebody.
Desperately trying
don't
not to
have
do
a-
that. Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
here
have
for.
a drop.
Yeah.
So there are a few platforms like that where if you can get your books available via those platforms and make them available in that way, then we're able to access them. But it kind of comes down to what you can do as an author and how you can work with your publishers there.
I think we have had an author or two who has like reached out to their publisher and been like, can we get this there so that we can donate a copy? And that has worked. And
Yeah.
I know several zine distros actually you can buy through Ingram, and so I wonder if people are making like digital zines that they would want to make available to y'all, if that could also be, because I think it's Silver Sprocket and Microcosm are available on Ingram, so I wonder if that could ever be something that could happen, because that'd be dope as hell.
I know we've definitely got some of the more booky Microcosm things, but I'm not sure about straight up zines, but I should check as an occasional zine librarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that the one other tricky thing that they run into sometimes is when people are making things available on Overdrive, or when authors are making their things available there, they have to check like an extra box that says, in addition to public libraries, it's also okay if you make our book available to like private libraries. Because we're a nonprofit, technically, they have to make sure it's available on that level too. So every once in a while, we'll run into something like that, but not too often. And I would also say as well, like, I don't know, I haven't seen that many zines pop up through Overdrive, so I don't know if that's like the public versus private library situation or if it's something else happening. But whenever we get a question about something like that, I always say, hey, we aren't a zine archive, but you know who is? The Queer Zine Archive. Yeah, QZAP is out there. They're amazing. They're already doing this thing. Please check them out. So we really like to refer people out to other like amazing queer resources too, whenever we can.
Yeah, the other one that we refer to a lot is Stone Butch Blues.
Oh yeah,
because we get
people are like, "Why is Stone Butch Blues in here?" Because it's free.
Yeah, like he didn't want us to do that. We've got, but here's this nice link. It's on our resources page because we got people upset.
Let's hear Stone Butch Blues.
Genuinely, I think every like 3 months there's another like acquisitions request form that comes in. Like, I can't believe you didn't have this already, and I have to be like, honey, I'm so sorry. I would buy it if we could, but here's a free PDF. Like, come on. Google it, please.
Good news, though. It's free.
Yeah,
great news. It's amazing.
Like on purpose. Leslie Feinberg wanted it that way.
Yeah. And
That
it's
is the
also
kind of thing
available.
that we could put on OPAC if we get that.
Oh,
because we
yeah,
could
that is
break
true.
out instead of
Yeah.
hosting it ourselves.
Like
Yeah.
Project Gutenberg, pluck
Yeah.
out the ones that work there.
Oh, and I saw the open
Link.
access books, the open textbook library link that you
Mhm.
have.
Mhm.
So you could also put all those in your catalog as
Mhm.
well, and everything on open access book database.
Mhm.
Oh,
Just
wait, is
gonna
that
write
right?
that
Open
down.
book. Yeah.
That should, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
That's enough to
The
go on.
various open access resources
Uh-huh.
available on the internet to folks. Yeah. But for now, we just let people know that those are additional things that are out there and available and to check them out. And if we can be that person who lets somebody know that that exists, hey, amazing. That's still really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, gotta spread the word to the children.
Mhm.
For the gay children
Yep.
who live in our Discord.
Mhm.
Do you guys have any advice you would give somebody who also wanted to maybe start a sort of nonprofit library like Quill? Like if they maybe wanted to take it in a different direction, like, like a Black history or something sort of similarly
Mhm.
niche. Do you guys have any big words of wisdom for somebody who may be contemplating that kind of thing?
Mhm. I can jump in right away, Avi, if you want to
Please
think
do.
a little bit. It looks like you have your thinking face on. So I think one of my things is to make sure you, before you start doing stuff, pull together a team who have like different areas of expertise that you're going to need. So before we really like put all the pieces together for Quill, we had someone who like knew nonprofits and did nonprofit work. We had a couple librarians. We had people who knew like social media things. We had a graphic design person, right? So having people who like fill all those different areas before you like start doing the things, and then you have to scramble and be like, need to do it, but don't know how and don't know the person. The team, I think, is really important. Also to like share the load and share labor and not get overstressed and not like feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders.
Yeah, that's been a big thing for us. I think, yeah, just like flexibility has been really important for actually making things happen and kind of, I mean, like with any project, like get rid of the perfectionism. And
Mhm. I would also say on a really practical
Interesting.
level that if people are interested in doing this type of thing from a nonprofit angle, that the fiscal sponsorship has been really helpful in terms of like removing a lot of those barriers of like pursuing the 50c3 status just by yourself, right? Because they have some of that expertise and they know what kinds of paperwork needs to happen and they can check all those little boxes for you, right? So I think that was a really useful thing that let us get started sooner without worrying about some of the background noise and still do it very legitimately, but without having to stress about those pieces.
Yeah, I might say don't stress about getting big as soon as possible. Like, kind of pace
Just a viral
yourself if you
TikTok
can. Yeah, yeah.
can,
Like,
can attest.
I'm glad that we're getting the word out, and the people who on our team who do the social media are really great. But
They
it's
took the training wheels off really
yeah,
soon.
Thanks, Book Talk.
or just I don't know, maybe we had like some plans for like when we get bigger, this is how we'll handle things, but like having an emergency plan for popularity or something
Mhm.
could be
Like if the
helpful.
shit hits the
Also,
fan in a good way.
Yeah.
the last thing I'll say that's really, really important is make sure that it's something that you and the team that you have together that you're going to have fun. You have to have fun with it. You have to enjoy it, right? I think that's really core to the sustainability and the persistence of the thing, right? The having fun along the way, the joy along the way. It's not just about fighting to make the thing happen.
Yeah, we've always said that this primarily is we're here to have fun too.
Hmm.
Also, it's a lot easier to just like, you don't have to start something new. It's a lot easier to donate like $25 a month or go ask your friends to ante up and kick in for all this stuff. Cause
Mhm.
if you want to feel like you're doing something like concrete, it's not that difficult to, pester people for donations or things like that to projects that you are already going. I feel like sometimes
Hmm.
I don't like every once in a while I see someone who's like, I'm starting a community library. I'm like, no, you're not.
Oh, yeah.
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 I remember there was a point when
Mhm.
Kieran had been talking about it occasionally, like as friends for a while, when they were like, well, I've actually started talking to friends who are outside of this and like maybe making plans. And there was like a moment I was like, oh, this is real now. Like it was just
But
kind of an idea. And then it was very real.
I think in that period of time, another thing that happened was our nonprofit, which formal title, right, specifically said, if there's anyone else out there who has a nonprofit who's doing a digital queer library in the US in this kind of way, we shouldn't do this. We should support them instead. We should see what we can do to help them. We shouldn't reinvent the wheel. We shouldn't do it if someone else is doing this because of her expertise, like with this area, with nonprofits and how they function, right? So it turned out that no one else was doing exactly what we're doing. So we're doing it now. But I do think that's a useful thing to do is take a look around you. Who else is already doing similar work? Do you want to contribute to that work before you start building something from scratch? Because there's so many amazing things happening. And also a lot of these projects are smaller like us. And $25 a month is like huge. That's so impactful. Reoccurring donations are like our bread and butter. It's amazing. Every time we get one, I'm like, oh wow, oh my God, amazing. So yeah, very cool.
All right. We're at about an hour, so we could start wrapping up.
Looking at this sick ass merch.
Yeah. Right? Well,
oh my God. Do you want a modeling of the
Oh, hell yeah. Oh,
you
yes.
should get that and make that my work mug.
One of the
I know,
people
right?
on
I
our
was just
team,
thinking that.
Like with my
one of the people on our team
Homosaurus
has
mug
like
and
a
Quill mug. Yeah.
I don't even have any Homosaurus merch.
Come on, the dinosaur is so cute.
Exactly. I bought stickers, Jay. I'll send you one in the snail mail if you want it.
These are awesome stickers, though. These like read queer books, read trans books. They're very good.
one of those on my wall here at work.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So we try to end on like a hopeful, like looking forward note. So what is both of your like your ideal state for Quill look like? Like if you could project like best case scenario 5 years down the line, what would that look like to you? What are your hopes going forward?
Oh man, I saw that on the list of potential questions and it's like, oh God.
I know it's a big question. Like there's always like a silence beforehand, but we can cut that. So
I have a few things. Really practical list to start with. 1, we're still here. We want to still be around. We want to be here for the long haul. We don't want to get crushed by something or the other, right? We want to still be able to do the cool work that we're doing, just more of all of it. My personal goal also is get the hold times down. Would be amazing. I would love them to be at an average of under 30 days. That would be a miracle. I want that to happen. I think in other more like positive things we've also mentioned, it would be so cool to do like more programming, more collaboration. We also really want to expand the team and bring on some more volunteers so we can build out our capacity, but also like building a structure so that you can have volunteers learn the system and have a good experience and have that work well and be great for everybody. We wanted to do it right, so it's taking a little bit longer. I don't know. I also feel like the fact that we've gotten the feedback that we've gotten, and we've also had the amount of people sign up for a membership and the number of checkouts and people using the library to such an extent really shows that there's like this huge information need out there that hasn't been met by traditional library systems, right? I said before, the queer folks of America are really voracious readers and they want and they need these things. And like we're filling a gap in information access there. And that's like really core to do. And I really hope we can just keep doing that, like in collaboration and support and to supplement and to co-conspirate with like the public libraries and like all other kinds of libraries out there and the other queer community libraries around. I just hope we can keep doing more of everything that we're already doing.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a good button, and mine are just kind of one-offs. But I mean, cataloging and being able to do fun stuff with metadata is high on my list of things I would love to be doing. It feels like I'm like, but my job's like right there and I just can see it, but I can't do it. But also, I would love to be able to be compensating people for more of their labor than we can do. I love a volunteer project, but everybody works so hard. We think about it all the time. And like that would be great, especially for people who maybe could like lighten their workload and have a better work-life balance if that were something we could do. We also talked about potentially being a platform for like kind of community publishing kind of stuff. And that's very cool.
Ooh.
But
that
Yeah.
one is a total pie in the sky. That one has a lot of things to work through. And I thought of another really fun thing that we would love to have. You've seen some of our cool merch, which is you can find on our website, all union made. So yay. We've already got mugs. We've got t-shirt. We've got stickers. But we want hat. We want, and I'm a little bit joking, but also if it actually happened, it would be so cool. We want booty shorts. We want people to cut the t-shirts that they already have into crop top. You know, there are some other like really fun things we could do there. Like we have those posters, not posters, they're flyers that you can print of Quill and like post it on your telephone pole. We also want to do like more things like that we can get out into other spaces. That would be super cool.
Very important question.
Yeah.
What would the booty shorts say on each cheek? Like,
Can I?
Please.
Never can I say our unofficial
Yes.
tagline?
They can
Okay.
edit it out if they hate it. It's beautiful.
So our unofficial tagline for the library is "Read a book, faggot," and that's the shorts for sure.
I will model them. Like, I'm volunteering.
Somebody needs to DIY that
will
for Jay
remember that.
specifically.
I was gonna say this.
Yes, for me right now.
I keep saying I'm going to learn that screen printing, and this is going to be it.
Just make sure you put the little Quill logo in the corner and we're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Incredible.
And then we'll be done. We'll be finished.
So
Oh, that's amazing.
what can we do to help Quill out, to help you guys out, both as us, the hosts, as like our listeners? What can we do for you guys? How can we help?
I think, just as hosts, thank you for having us and for sharing us with people. I hope that will be new to some people. And then in general, I say, our business gay will be mad if none of us say like recurring donations. No pressure if you can't. Oh, this won't be coming out in time for that. That's fine. We're doing a video for Project for Awesome, and that's like a go vote thing, but that's this weekend. So
I just voted.
thank
Amazing.
you.
But also you can probably cut that part because it
Yeah.
won't air in time. Yeah.
We can post it in the Discord and stuff, though, for folks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I would say also other things that people can do, like obviously spreading the word. If you want to use your printer at work, because ink is expensive, we all know, to print out some of our little quarter sheets. And if you want to put them in your local coffee shop, in your indie bookstore, wherever, that's really cool. We've had a few people find us from that who like never would have otherwise come across that we existed. So that's been really, really amazing. We have fun merch, so you can check that out. Also, using the library is really helpful as we start to try and plan for like more grants. We want to keep exploring that so we can continue like not just relying on individual donations if possible. Like we use those statistics of we have this many patrons, they're checking out books at an alarming rate, which is incredible, but also give us more money so we can get them more books. Those numbers are really helpful. And we also do have a newsletter. So all future like things that are happening within Quill, if you want to stay up to date, you can sign up. I think if you go to our website, queerliberationlibrary.org, and scroll all the way down, you can sign up for the newsletter in the bottom left-hand corner. So that's a great way to stay up to date on anything else that we're doing, new initiatives, various fun things.
I say, have we talked about our social media stuff?
No, we have not. Follow
Yeah,
up.
what do you guys want to promote?
So we have our Tumblr and an Instagram still, and Blue Sky
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Am I missing?
I don't think the TikTok has been deleted yet. It hasn't totally
Okay.
disappeared. It technically exists. I don't know if I would recommend that platform.
I don't know if I'm using.
But on whatever social media you are on, if we're there, it's at Queer Lib Lib. So same thing, every place. And if you have,
Talk to us.
if you want to come tell us we're cool, that's fun. If you want to come yell about your favorite queer book, please do that. We would love to hear all about it. We'll
And we might
probably
buy
yell
it.
back.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. This has been fantastic. It's really great to talk to you
Thank you
about
for having us.
really hopeful project. I'm really glad you guys exist in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're trying to do the best we can. Obviously it's really fun, but we also know that like it's not always just fun. Sometimes having that sense of like connection and having access to this information and having that sense of not being alone can really be life-saving. So we're doing what we can.
Yeah, I lately have been every time I get into that real big despair. Nothing's going to help. Nothing's going to get better. I just go and I answer a troubleshooting email, and I get one more person actually logged into their account and getting access to things that they want and people want to take from them, and then that helps. Everybody helps.
Direct action, tech
Yes.
troubleshooting. Sometimes it is that.
Sometimes. Get lucky and it is.
Yeah, thanks for having us so much. It's weird seeing your faces at the same time as hearing your voices.
You get the special blue roll on the Discord now because you've been on the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Friend of the pod.
Nobody
The
will ever
pod.
see because I only lurk and never say anything.
I've never been on the Discord. I should probably change that.
Yeah.
There's a link.
Do it.
It's in our notes, and it will also be in the description along with the donate and with
Mhm.
the pre-order for the Emperor of Gladness, and hopefully everything else we've mentioned is our usual media mention stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah, I tried to put links into anything I thought I would say that would have a link. So yeah, but yeah, if
Buy
you need
merch
anything
so
else,
that we can then make them get the booty shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God
Well,
damn it.
Yeah. And the more people
Actually-
who just, send us blue skies. They're like, booty shorts, booty shorts.
well, also
That's all I
I
need.
will say we did have to, like, for the partner that we work with for the merch, they were like, you have to sell a certain number of these first things before we let you add more items. So, which we did, but now we need to do more if we want to add more.
there
All
you go.
right. Buy some mugs to get the booty short, to unlock the booty shorts. It's a DLC.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see me with the booty shorts that say read a book faggot on them, then you better go buy a goddamn t-shirt and some stickers.
Hell yeah.
Oh, thank
This is a
you.
threat.
It's a threat of good marketing.
Good night.